Pause. Take a break. Reflect on life. Remember, you are strong. You are enough. You are capable. You are blessed. And you are loved. Your moment of greatness starts now.
In this episode, we'll learn more about how to find our life purpose. Helping us with this is an entrepreneur and the host of the Nico Lagan show. Welcome to the show, Nico. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. How about you?
I'm doing fine, and currently, I don't know if you can notice from my voice, I'm excited to be speaking with you.
All good, man.
Yeah,
All
you're
good.
good. Yeah, I mean, you've experienced a lot. You're traveling around the US at the moment, and I would just like us to, jump into that already. Like, what inspired you to leave Canada and say I'm going to travel around the US?
My heart.
Mm,
I'm a Christian. I'm a man of God. God speaks to me. I pay attention to what God tells me to do, and that's what I do. This is,
mm,
you know, I was a sales engineer for one of the biggest telecommunication companies in Canada. My career was made. I could have just got better jobs and continued doing more and more money, buy a bunch of real estate, just reinvest my money, and that would have been an easy life for me, but that's not what God expected of me. God wants me to help men become more masculine. He wants me to share my experience so that I can hopefully impact as many men's life as I can. But I got to tell you, man, this is not what I want to do. This takes works. This is hard. I need to interact with a bunch of people that don't like me every single day. Every single time I open my social media platforms, I know for a fact, one thing's for sure, there's going to be bad comments. There're going to be people calling me names. There are going to be people sending me private message to tell me they would hurt me if they met me in real life.
wow.
Those things are not pleasant, but as soon as you speak about something that matters, you're always going to find people that hate you. So again, I could have continued doing my job and just not be on social media and just live my life, but that's not my purpose. That's not why I was put on this earth. So I get to do this and try to enjoy it as much as I can, I guess.
Yeah, and I see you're enjoying it. I mean, with various online publications that you've had, different interviews,
Mm.
and you are influencing the life of men by helping them become much more masculine and tapping into embracing their masculinity. Also, that's something also.
Thank you for saying that because that's the goal. That's what I'm trying to do. So if you're saying that's
Yeah,
what's happening, I appreciate it.
yeah. I mean, that's good. And after seeing all of these online publications and reading about you a little bit, I found out that you grew up without a masculine figure
Mhm.
in your life. So how was that like? How was it like growing up without a masculine figure?
I don't know how it is compared to what, right? It's
Yeah.
I don't know what it is to have a present father from a young age. I don't know, but all I can tell you is men are men always want to emulate the people they look up to. It's in our DNA. We are meant to look up to people that we believe are good men, to have mature men around us that will teach us what it is to be a man. Because men are not born, they're made. We're made through trials and tribulations, and in order to learn this, we need men around us. Normally it's a father will take on that role. Doesn't need to be a father, could be anybody, could be an uncle, could be a grandfather, could be a friend of the family, but men need other men in order to learn what it is to be a good man. I didn't have that, so
Mm,
I chose to emulate what I believe was a good man. And back then I was a big, not that I'm not anymore, I still am, but back then I started listening to rap music. And I'm not talking about the soft rap that you're talking, the soft hip hop you're seeing today. I'm talking about the gangster music, like guys like Wu Tang, Mob Deep, Nas, Tupac, like guys that come from the ghetto and made
mm,
something out of themselves, right? And how did they do it? Through selling drugs. So that's what I did. To me, I looked at those guys. They had money, they had women, they had cars, they had success, they were everywhere on TV. So that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to emulate. And how did they do it? Through selling drugs. So that's what I did. And Within a year, I wasn't in. I dropped out of school. I was doing drugs every day. I was drinking every day. I was becoming an addict. I was not a good person. It didn't take long for me to start stealing. It didn't take long for me to start misbehaving because all that mattered to me was me. And men are supposed to serve. We're supposed to help others. We're supposed to protect our family. We're supposed to provide for our families. And nobody taught me that. I didn't know this. It took me a long time to figure this out because if you're not taught, how are you going to know? So for 6 or 7 years, all I did was thinking of myself and getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I was an addict. I was an alcoholic. I sold drugs, and that's all that mattered to me. I wanted to party and do drugs. That's it. The rest didn't really matter to me anymore, right? So
Mm. Yeah.
this is what happened to
Wow.
me,
Mhm.
and it's not until I took accountability for those actions that things started to change.
Are you enjoying this episode? Kindly subscribe, share, and leave a review. Thank you.
And how were you able to like then change your life? But before you answer that, I really want to pick up on what you said. You said men are made by trials and tribulation, and
Hmm.
they are made by the people they look up to.
Hmm.
And I really admire that because I like the fact that you said that, and I like the fact that you right now, after experiencing what you experienced and going through what you went through, are standing out as an example of what a man could be like or should be like also. And I believe we need more examples like that in the world. So I would just like you to like from what you've experienced so far, um, being an addict and selling drugs, how were you able to then shift your life, change your life, transform yourself to become the Nico that you are today?
Over 20 years, man. I'm a work in progress. If that's something that's for sure is I'm still making a lot of mistakes, but I'm learning from those mistakes. But it all stemmed from the fact or from the time that I took accountability, that I got challenged. Like I remember sitting on the floor of my apartment. I was 20 years old and all my stuff is in boxes. I'm getting evicted from my apartment. And I had an opportunity to, instead of selling the drugs, to start producing it. But it was an opportunity that was upcoming. Like, it wasn't done that day. It was something that was coming, that was going to happen soon. But I was getting evicted from my apartment. I had no place to go. I was becoming homeless. And I remember sitting on the floor of my apartment back then, and my phone rang, and it was my mother, because I left my mother's place. I was 17 years old. Like, I moved out when I was still young, and I had been living on my own for about 3 or 4 years now. And she literally called me to ask me if I was happy. And when you're hurting enough, when you're in a situation where you're desperate, you feel that you've hit rock bottom, when continuing to do the same thing over and over again is no longer an option, you're ready to listen. This is normally when you're ready to listen. Because until that day, if my mother never called me that day to ask me if I was happy, and then to tell me that if I wasn't, I could come back home, and she didn't have the money to pay for my stuff, I'd have to work, I'd have to go back to school, I'd have to take responsibility for my actions. But if it wasn't for her calling me, this would have never crossed my mind. This was not an option in my head. Like, I never considered for a second going back to my mother's place, going back to school. Like, I never considered stopping taking drugs. I never considered dropping all of my friends to concentrate on me. Those things are never occurred to me until she asked me that specific question: "Are you happy?"
Mm.
And I don't know how you or your listeners, well, how they feel about God, but I don't believe in coincidences. That Since that day, I don't believe in coincidences, because there's my mother and I don't have the best of relationship. We argue a lot. we're often not on the same page. We don't have the same political views. Like a lot of we're very different different human beings. And that day when she called, it was not judgmental. It was not from a place of hate. It wasn't from a place of trying to scold me. Like it came from a place of just it was just good. The way she approached it was just perfect. She wasn't there to judge me. She simply wanted to know if I was happy. And if you take into consideration all the conversations that we've had over the years, this does not normally happen between my mother and I. So I strongly believe that God used my mother as a vehicle to wake me up. And
Mm,
man, that same day I moved back to my mother's place, I within a few weeks I started attending AA meetings and NA meetings. I cut off all of my friends. I stopped doing drugs. I stopped drinking. I literally concentrated on me. And within a couple of years I had gone back to finish my high school diploma. I had gone to college, like I did a fast track college degree in 18 months. And within a couple of years I was literally like starting a corporate job, like a corporate career. So, and within that time I discovered the gym. Within that time I was in school. Right after school I discovered martial arts. So it's interesting when you start taking accountability for your actions. Once you look at yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? Because I'm not a good person, because I don't help others. I'm selfless. I don't care about other people. I'm not doing great in this world. I steal from people that I love. I hurt people that I love. I'm not a good, like, I was just not a good person. And it's a hard realization to face. It's hard to look at yourself and say, you know what, you're not a good person. You need to do better because you're not doing good right now. It's not an easy thing to realize.
wow, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the journey you've gone through and for being where you are today. And if I may ask that question that your mom asked that fateful day, are you happy?
Right now, you
Yes.
know, happy is a state of mind. Happy is not a destination. You don't be
Mm,
People see happiness like it's a goal, and once you become happy you're always happy. This is not how it works at all. Happiness is a state of mind. You could be happy in the morning and be unhappy in the afternoon. And I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. I don't care what is going on in your life. Happiness is a state of mind. You choose to be happy or you choose not to be happy. So for me to tell you, am I happy? Yeah. Yeah, most of the time I am, absolutely. If does that mean my life isn't hard? No. I'm going through one of the hardest portions of my life right now. And I'm still here. I'm still here talking about it on podcasts. I'm still posting videos every day. Almost I don't feel like it most of the time because yeah, what I'm going through right now sucks. But at the same
mm,
time, this is what discipline is all about, to do what needs to get done when it needs to get done. And this afternoon, hopefully I have the time. I'll sit down outside with a cigar, read a book, and you know what? This makes me happy. Sitting in the sun with my dog, smoking a cigar while reading makes me happy. So I choose to be happy.
mm,
There you go. I'll answer your
mm.
question like that. I choose to be happy.
You choose to be happy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you don't want to share what you're going through right now. I believe you don't want to. I believe
Oh
that's
no, it's
currently
not that.
private.
It's not that I don't want to share this. It's not an issue. Put yourself in my spot. I was making about 150 grand a year at my old job. I had an
Mm,
opportunity to I had an opportunity to go work for Amazon. Like it wasn't a done deal, but I was in the process. I had been approached by Amazon, and this pays extremely well. Like you're talking 300-400 grand a year. Like it's and with that type of money, most people will never make that type of money. So I did not have to do anything. If I wanted to, I could have continued learning, continue working my 9 to 5, and make a boatload of money, invest, buy houses, buy new cars, buy a bunch of stuff that I don't really need, but still I could have done what everybody out there does. but this is not what I was told to do. God told me to do something else. God told me to follow my purpose, which is to build as big as a platform as I can, to reach as many men as I can, to help as many men as I can. That's my why. That's why I do what I do. So instead of taking the easy way out, I refinanced my house, extracted the money, and for the past year, I've been running a business that I'm. Over the past year, I've started. I developed a business to help men, but starting a business is always expensive. You always have to start from the ground up. You always have to figure out how to make it work. Now it's about to start working. Like the last year is finally gonna start paying off. I have some really nice contracts that are gonna start in January, but for the last 14 months, there's barely no revenue. It's really just money that I've acquired over the years that I'm spending on this. And how many times have we like the thing to remember is I have a girlfriend that I provide for. She's with me,
Mm.
and this is my job to provide for her. And it's hard to tell her that good things are coming, good things are coming, good things are coming. I can work 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've been working since 3 this morning. It's noon where I am. So I've been at
Mm.
this for 9 hours, and I'm not done. I still have another podcast to read. You're my second podcast today. I have another one this afternoon, and I have a bunch of work to do this afternoon too.
Mm.
So I'm nowhere close to being done. And this is what I do every day. But it's hard to for somebody
Wow.
to see you work that much and say, man, he's doing a lot of work, but man, it would have been easy to keep the job that we had before, to just do the simple life. But would I have been fulfilled? No. Would I have been happy most of the time? No, because when you know, look at most people today. I don't believe in depression. I don't think men are ever depressed. I think men lack purpose. Because think about it this way. Have you ever seen somebody that has purpose that's depressed? No, because they have a
No.
reason to get up in the morning. They know
Yeah.
why God put them on this planet. But the opposite is also true. Have you ever seen somebody that is depressed that have purpose?
Mm. I think yes, yeah. Because they're not fully tapped into their purpose, then they could get
But they're
depressed.
not, right? If you're
Yeah.
depressed, is because think about it. Why would somebody ever be depressed? Because they don't fit in. They don't know where they fit onto this world. They don't feel that they have a reason to be here. This is why most people are depressed.
Mm.
So they don't have any purpose. So this is the choice, right? I could have had the easy life, and eventually I would have been extremely unhappy all the time, no matter what the amount of money that I was doing, that I was
Mm.
making, just because I wasn't living my purpose. I was not doing this. After 12 years of being a sales engineer, I knew that it was time to move. It was time to do something else. And that's what I
Mm.
did. And do I regret it? Not a second. Not a second. Has it been the hardest thing I've ever done over the past year? 100%. I've never, but how many times have I been through hard times in my life? Time and time again. And you know what happens? Just stick to it. Just continue sticking to it. And by the time you get out of it, you're going to realize that you're 10 times the man you were when you started. And somehow God always takes care of you. If you're ready to do the work, you will be taken care of. You will get what you deserve at the end, but you need to work
Yeah.
for it. You need to be ready to sacrifice. You need to be ready to follow your heart, follow what you're being told to do.
Yes. I truly believe that. And I know it's always darkest before it's done. And I believe that
Mhm,
as long
mhm.
as one is consistent on the journey, God is going to see you
Have
through and
faith.
bless your effort
Have
or crown your effort
faith.
to success. Yeah.
Just have faith. Just have
Yes.
faith. God will provide. I have no question about it. Is you know, you need courage to have faith nowadays. If you're
Mm.
courageous and you believe, you have the courage to believe in your faith, bro, you're unstoppable. If you have courage,
Mm.
faith, you're ready to do the work, you're unstoppable.
If that's one thing I'm going to take on from this episode, that's enough.
Mhm.
Have courage to have faith and just do the work and you'll be successful. And
Do the work.
you have
Discipline
that
is.
joy in your heart.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hard
Yeah.
work pays off. Hard work pays
Mm.
off. You know, There's in the RV park where we are right now, we have a neighbor that's probably end of his 60s, beginning of his 70s. Is his wife died from cancer a couple of weeks ago, a couple of years ago, and now but he still works. He doesn't have to. He doesn't need the money, but he works for purpose because it gives him something to do. He feels needed. He feels purpose. It's interesting how that works, huh? And he's a super happy guy. He chooses to
Mm,
work just to make sure that he still provides to this planet, that he's still participating. He's a trucker and he delivers stuff. So to him, he's part of society. He's taking stuff that people need on a day-to-day base, and he makes sure that it's available to them by transporting it for them. That's his sense of
mm.
purpose. It's a beautiful thing when you think about it because it's simple. His purpose is extremely simple.
Nico, I really appreciate the fact that you shared that. I mean, you didn't have to, but you shared what you're going through right now. I'm so grateful for that.
Don't be
So
I
much.
told you from before we started recording, there's no taboos with me. If you ask the questions, it's listen, it's if that can help somebody, if there's somebody going through something similar to me and they're thinking about giving up right now, just know that it gets better. It might get worse though. It might get worse before it gets better. Let me tell you this. It might get worse because it is. I knew this would be hard, but I didn't expect it to be this hard.
Mm,
But one thing I always keep in mind is this: God will never give you something that you can't handle. If he's making you do something, is because he knows you're capable of doing it. So you need to have
mm,
faith. And there's a story I read years ago. It was a man asking God for faith. For sorry, it was a man asking God for patience. He's like, God, I need patience. God told him, I'm like, I can't give you patience, but I can put you in situations where it's going to force you to be patient. You're going to have to learn to
yeah,
be patient in order to go through those situations. And to me, this is
yeah.
what it is. If my purpose is to help men, what I'm going through to build the foundation for what I need in order to do that is
Mm,
what I need to do. I know he's not asking me something more than I can handle. He has put people on my path over the past 14 months and he still is doing it as we speak to help me or to at least be there to give me somewhat
mm,
guidance or just whatever it is that they're participating. They're walking the path with me, right?
yeah.
So have
Yes.
faith. You can just have faith that you're doing the right thing.
What do you think about this episode? Could you share your honest review with us? Details are in the show note for this episode. Thank you.
Tap into your life purpose, have faith, and do the work that you need to fulfill your purpose in life. Yeah.
Really simple.
And someone is asking out there. Someone is asking right there right now that Nico, you've talked so much about purpose, but I don't know how to find my purpose. How
Uh-huh.
can I find my purpose? How would you answer that person?
Well, it depends what age you are, because there's multiple purposes. In my opinion, there's three purposes in a man's life. The first one being becoming a man. So
Mm,
look at rite of passages over the centuries, over the millennia. Men always were teaching young men what it took to become a man. There was a specific set of rules that said if you want to be a man in our society, this is what a man is. In order for you to become that man, you needed to prove yourself that you had the abilities, the skills, that you have the virtues in order to become that man. So rites of passages were built by older men to teach younger men what it took to become a man. So that's purpose number one. When you're a boy, your first purpose is to become a man. How do you do that? By preparing for the rite of passage that your tribe, your society, your whatever around you has. What do they consider a man? You need to go through it. That's your first purpose. Then you have a second purpose, which is what I call becoming a good man. Because becoming a man is not enough. You need to live by virtues. Like I said earlier, boys are born, men are made. So men
mhm,
need understanding. They need to be able to develop themselves. So once you become a man, it's your job to become a good man. How do you become a good man? By having specific set of values, moralities, and I like to call those the five virtues of a good man, which is courage, being a protector, being a provider, temperance, and having faith. And courage is the basis of everything. It's the foundation. If you don't have courage, you're not reliable. People can't trust you because they don't know how you're going to react. They don't know the type of person you are under pressure, because if you're not courageous, they don't know if you're going to stand up for yourself, you're going to stand up for to protect your family. They you never know how somebody reacts if they're not a courageous person. So first and foremost, you need courage. And becoming a protector, this is what men do. We provide and we protect our family. That's our job. We do the same for our society, for our communities that we live in. We're supposed to lead, we're supposed to inspire. But it's more than being a protector. To me, when I say becoming a protector, is understanding your body. Because in order to become a protector, you need to build the skills to know how to defend yourself, how to defend the people that you love. In order to build those skills, you need physical fitness. So you need to build your body up to a point that you can actually learn those skills, and learning those skills will put your body into shape. But it also means that you need to start eating properly. You need to stop treating your body like a dumpster, and start treating it with the respect that it deserves. Like, most people take better care of their cars than they do their bodies. And most people don't feel well in their bodies, and they wonder why. It's because you're treating it like a dumpster. How can you expect to feel good if you're not treating your body like the machine that it is? And this is the first step, right? You start eating well, start hitting the gym, start going to martial art, you start surrounding yourself by other men. Like at the gym, there's a lot of other dudes. Like, you go to a martial art gym, it's filled with dudes. It's filled with men that are manly and that want to teach you. Like, those are guys that are in there. They love to teach. You know, a lot of women out there, like 33 to 40% of boys in North America right now are being raised without their father in the house. And I've been asked this many times by single mothers. I don't have a man in my life. There's nobody to teach him how to become a good man. What should I do? Go to a martial art gym.
Yeah.
Go to a martial art gym. A martial art coach will use martial arts in a way to teach your son life values by using martial art. They use something that they're both interested in, a shared passion, and then they teach you life lessons through it. So if you want to if you wonder how to help your son, put him in a martial art gym. So once you, and that this is what I find amazing. Once you start having men start to master their body. When you start mastering your body, you start getting access to your mind. Your mind starts operating at a level that it's never operated before, because you've never challenged your body before. You never gave it the respect that it deserves. But stick to it for a couple of months. Go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. Start eating well, and you'll see within a period of a couple of months, not only are you going to look better, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to start to realize that your mind is working so much better than it ever worked before. You're going to start have a clear head. You're going to start to be able to think all the time. It's not going to be all cloudy like it is right now. And this is why the third virtue of a good man is being a provider. Because a provider, yes, provides in the world in which we live today. It's money, right? The more money you make, the better you can take care of your children, the better you can take care of your family, because you're providing them the space that they need to grow. There's only two state of mind, right, when it comes to your family: survival mode, which you can't learn anything, all you're worried about is where your next meal is going to come from. And then you have a state of growth. When they feel safe, they can expand their mind. And that's your job as a man, is to create a space where your kids and your wife can grow, can feel safe. Because there's only one safe space in life. Is behind that closed door, is at a home. It's the space that a man creates for his family. But in order to create that, you need to make the most money that you can make. And there's a massive misconception nowadays that you should pursue what makes you happy. But we touched about this. Happiness is a state of mind. Why would you
Yeah.
chase something that is not a destination? Instead, analyze what your natural skills are, what you're good at, and pursue career, pursue an education in that field. If, like me, I've always been an extroverted person that likes to talk to people, that likes to meet new people. Do you think it's surprising that I ended up in sales? Do you think it's surprising today that I record 10, 12 podcasts a week as a guest, that I drop 4 or 5 videos every day on my social media? Of course not. those are the skills that I was given naturally, and I just developed them over the past 12 years. This is so.
Mm.
This is what men should do when you're in your early 20s. You're in your 20s. Don't worry about women. Don't worry about all the distractions that are out there. Just realize, take care of your body. Then start developing your mind. Start thinking about all of the ways that you can become better as a person, a better provider for your family that you're going to get down the road, because they depend on you. You might not have them right now, but one day they will be there. And if you want to have the choice of all the best women out there, know this: 95% of women compete for the top 5% of men. So instead of worrying how to get women, become one of the 5%. Become one of the top men, and women will fight for you. You won't even need to do anything. Women will fight for you. You will have the pick of those women. So figure out what your natural skills are and push them. Don't believe the hype that people tell you to develop your weaknesses. Nobody cares about your weaknesses. Accept them, but develop your strength. Whatever is
Mm.
natural to you, develop those strengths so that you become great at them. And for your weakness, you'll have enough money to hire somebody to take care of those things. If you're not good at something, just pay somebody else to do it for you. Don't worry about it. But see how, if you have courage, you're going to stand up for yourself. You're going to do what needs to get done. You're going to be ready to do what others, even if people disagree with you, you're still going to keep the path because you have the courage to do so. You're going to become a protector. You're going to take over your body, and you're going to build the skills that you need to take care of your future family if you don't have one right now. Then this will allow you to develop your mind by becoming the best provider you can become, by learning to develop your skills. So see, the body is connected to the mind. And once you start having this, it's time to develop your temperance, because we have testosterone running through our bodies. And the more you work out, the more you take care of it, the better you treat it, the higher your testosterone becomes, the more problematic you could become as well. So you need to know
Yeah.
how to mellow your brain, because I can tell you from experience, I'm I'm not a I have a short temper. It's became a lot better with time, like a lot better with time. But this is something that I will probably struggle the rest of my life. It's not because you're seeing me being calm that in my head I'm not imagining 10 ways I could kick your ass. So you gotta so it's not because I show control that it's not still in my head, right? But through
Mhm.
knowing myself, through meditation, through martial art, through eating properly, through being extremely self aware,
Mm.
I've developed the skills, or and still am. Like, it's a learning. This is something I think temperance is not achievable. I think it's a goal that we should all strive to accomplish, but I don't think it's possible. I don't think you become 100% tempered. Even Buddhist monks have periods of time that they're not reacting the way they should have, and those guys dedicate their life to it. So if they're not perfect, guess what? I'll never be perfect either, but I can become better, and the goal is to always be better and be better and be better, because at the
Mm.
end of the day, we need to understand this. If there's two ways to deal with your emotions: you let them control you, or you control them.
Mm.
There's no two ways about it. And the other thing to understand is, if you look at masculine energy is stoic. It is supposed to be in control. Feminine energy is supposed to be wild. It's emotional. It's supposed to be all over the place. And if you want your woman to be feminine, you need to be masculine. And masculine is in control of his emotion. That doesn't mean that you should never be emotional. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you need to know when and where it's appropriate. If you're at a home, you need to be able to give yourself emotionally to your kids, to your wife. They need to know that they know you. They need to know that you care. They need to know that you're there for them emotionally, because that's part of being a provider. But once you step out of that safe space that you created for them, once you step that front door, there's no such thing as safe spaces anymore. It's your responsibility to control your emotions, or else they will control you. And if your emotions control you, you're easily controllable. That means anybody can make you lose your temper anytime that they want, because you're not in control.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
And then the last part is having faith. And faith has been, most people see faith as like a religious term. I am a Christian. I have no shame in it. This is who I am. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. But faith does not need to be religious. And I'll explain it this way. For the sake of argument, let's replace the word faith by believe. How can you ever believe in yourself? How can you ever build self confidence if you don't first believe that you can achieve it? How can you ever create new meaningful relationship with somebody new if you don't first believe that they are the person they say they are? And how can you ever find life purpose if you don't first believe that you have a reason to be here?
It's not possible.
No, that's why faith is so important. And
Mm.
for the longest time, because I'm writing my second book right now, and I'm writing it on the 5 virtues of a good man. And I was talking to my pastor the other day in church, and I'm like, in your opinion, what comes first, faith or courage? What's the foundation of if I tell you that those are the 5 virtues, which one's the
Yeah.
foundation? Which one is it, courage or is it faith? Because I'm not
I
sure.
would say, okay.
No, no,
Okay.
go for it. Go for it. What's your opinion?
I would say courage comes first, because faith, you have to have that courage to have faith, like you said earlier. Also, like faith is something that if you have the courage to have faith, you waver a bit, because it's like, faith is the evidence of something not seen.
Yeah.
Like, it's hope of something that does not exist yet, basically.
But what's interesting is that there's a lot of people that find courage through their faith.
Mm,
This is why I've always been puzzled. But even the pastor is like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. But he agrees that courage probably comes first. But this is true of today. But if you look 100 years ago, 200 years ago, men were more courageous. So you did not need to really speak about courage because men were courageous in the first place. Right? So for them
yeah,
faith brought them courage because they were already courage, and faith will bring you more courage. If you can develop faith, there's moments that they're hard, but because of your faith, you have you become more and more courageous because you have faith. So one feeds the other, right? They're just always piling one on top of the other. But yeah, and
yeah,
I like to say that faith is the 5 virtues of a good man, not because it's the least important, but because it wraps everything together. Because to me, if you look at courage as the foundation, being a protector, a provider, and having temperance are 3 pillars, and then you have faith that is your roof inside of the house. Like it is what keeps everything together, basically.
yes. I mean, I see it as, having faith in God, most importantly, having faith in yourself, and having faith that life is going to deliver to you what belongs to you. Like
Mhm.
the universe, life, everything that God has made is going to work to your own benefits.
As
That
long
way
as you do
you
the
remain
work.
courageous too.
As long as you do
Yeah,
the work. Because if you
yeah.
sit your bum in front of Netflix and that's all you do day in, day out, guess what? Nothing's going to happen to you. But if you're ready to do the work, if you're ready to take the hit, to do what needs to get done, then yes, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I believe that too. Thank you so much for sharing everything you shared. Like, I've learned a lot, and when you are talking about everything, I was just reflecting about how much work one has to do to have these 5 virtues of a good man. And I believe it's very important for one to have accountability partner on this journey.
Mhm.
So can you tell us, the role that accountability plays in becoming a more masculine man, like a more um how let's say a life purpose, life fulfilling man also.
Well, accountability is everything. When you can look at every single problem in society today and you can boil it down to one single thing: accountability. Show me a problem that we have, and I will find you somebody that did not want to do their work and instead blame somebody else.
Mm,
All of our problems are always personal, societal, are always on accountability. There's always a lack of accountability somewhere. And it's the hardest thing to build. Being accountable is the first step. So I don't think, as I was saying at the beginning, but I'll rephrase it probably in a way that is going to make more sense. There is no way to start your accountability journey if you don't first hurt so much, then continuing to do what you're doing right now is no longer an option.
Mm.
Einstein defined insanity as repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
And this is what accountability is all about. The day that this is no longer a possible, the day you realize that you're literally insane, that you've been doing the same thing over and over again, and then it's not getting better, it's actually getting worse, and you can't take it anymore, it hurts too much to continue, that you need to change. This is where accountability comes from. So I don't know that, this is something that I've pondered quite often, and I still don't have a definite answer, but I don't think it's possible to become accountable if you don't first hurt to a point that you need to change.
Mm.
Because
So you need that
look at the
spark.
comfort zone. Comfort zone's a
Mm.
killer. Why is it a killer? And that's something that people don't explain. The reason the comfort zone is so dangerous is because you're never hurting enough to want to change. So you spend your whole life doing the bare minimum, but you're not hurting enough to change. So you're just like, oh, you know what? This is comfortable. I'm okay with that. This is fine. I'm getting maybe I'm getting better and better, or I have a job that pays for everything that I need, and I don't want any more than that because I'm not really hurting. Everything's okay. No, my life is cool. Like, I got good moments, I got bad moments. Cool. It's fine. I'm not hurting though. This is why the
Mm.
comfort zone is so dangerous. Because if years ago I saw a study, and the people were speaking how, let me ask you this: what's the number one regret of the dying?
Oh, that they were not able to like do everything that they wanted to do in life, like for their life purpose.
The number one regret is living a life others expected of them, and not the life they wanted to live.
Mm.
When I read that, I'm like, not gonna be me. If that's the regret that they have, if that's the number one regret they have, they'll
Mm.
never be me. So when my heart tells me to do something, I do it. I don't question it. I just do it. If there's something in my soul telling me you need to do this, I don't look at what it means. I don't look at how hard it's going to get. I don't look at what it actually means. I don't look at, am I going to lose people around me? Are people going to think this of me? Are people going to do that? Or people, whatever. I don't care.
Mm.
If something's telling me to do something, I do it. Is it easy? Hell no. It's very hard to do that. It's very, very hard to follow what your heart is telling you, but I am convinced God speaks to us through our heart. That little voice that's inside of us that's telling us you should do this, that's God
Yeah.
talking to you, and you better listen. I've never regretted, not once in my life have I regretted listening to that inner voice. The only time I didn't listen is when things went wrong. In the grand
Mm.
scheme of things, it might be very uncomfortable for a little while, but pain is temporary. And instead of looking at pain in a way, in something to avoid, we should start seeing it as a thing to embrace. If we
Yeah.
understand that pain and suffering are the greatest of teachers, why would we run away from pain instead of embracing it? I'm not saying that you should hurt yourself. That's not the type of pain I'm talking about. But
Mm.
if, again, like I said earlier, God will always give you enough that you can handle. Everything that he gives you, you can handle it. So it's a matter of you having faith and having courage to do it. But every single time there's a hard part in your life, think about all the hard parts in your life that you thought in the moment, man, am I going to ever get out of this? Like, am I going to be okay? And then you get out of it and you start paying attention. You're like, man, I'm not the same guy anymore. What I just went through changed me at such a fundamental level that I am not the same person anymore. I grew exponentially out of admitting to myself 20 years ago that I was not a good person. Taking accountability for the fact that I did not care about others, that I was a drug addict, that I was an alcoholic, that I was a thief, that I was a thug, that I was really not a good person. Facing that realization, facing that reality, sent me on the path that I'm on right now. If it wasn't for that single moment in time where I said, I am not a good person, you need to do better. That didn't make it easy. My problem didn't get fixed all the way and pow, I was good. No, that was just a step to say, oh, okay, I got to
Mm.
do something. The comfort, the, ignorance is bliss. It was a lot harder being an alcoholic and being a drug addict than to admit of being one, to admit that you've hurt people, because when you just care about yourself, it don't matter. But when you start realizing that you should be better, you start looking at all the bad things that you do, and then you see those people that you've hurt, and then you see it from a different situation where you're, hey man, I'm sorry bro, I'm sorry mom, I'm sorry this, I'm sorry that, I wasn't good to you.
Mm.
It's not easy, but man, I wouldn't be where I am today if I did not take that leap of faith back then and realize that I can do better. I'm not good right now, but I can be better.
Yes. Yeah. Like when you're talking about, embracing suffering and pain, I believe a lot of us run away from it because it's like you said already, it's very uncomfortable for you to embrace
Mhm.
your pain and suffering. You rather want to numb it
Yep.
by maybe taking drugs or smoking or doing whatever you have to
100%.
do to run away from it. Or embracing
100%.
it, yeah,
Instead,
embracing
face
it
it,
and feeling it. Yeah, yeah.
live in it. You know,
Mm,
I was in church last Sunday, and the pastor was talking. The pastor was talking about something I don't even remember. It's not even relevant what he was talking about. But the pastor was giving his sermon, and I started crying. Like I completely broke down for no reason. Not, like at the moment, I'm like, hey, what the hell's going on? But I'm
mm,
literally in church with hundreds of people sitting in the back, and I'm a big guy. I'm 210 pounds. I'm covered in tattoos, and I'm muscular. And I start crying. I'm just crying, 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 crying. And I'm like, what the hell is going
mm,
on? And then I feel the touch of God. I literally felt God touch me. I felt him touch my head in the back from the back of me. I'm like, oh, I get it. I understand now what's
mm,
going on. I get it. Thank you. But I did not run away from that pain. I did not care that I was in front of people, because I'm in, would I have done that in a restaurant or something? Like, no, I would have left. But I was in church.
mm.
You're
In the
in a
house of our Father.
place, you know, for the people out. I wish I discovered Christianity like years and years ago. I wish I had somebody around me that could have just said, "Hey, bro, you're not doing well. Let's go. Let's just go to church. See if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. But if you like it, let's go. Let's just sit down with me and just listen to the man that's speaking in front. Start reading a bit of the Bible if it makes sense to you or not." But I wish somebody would have taught me that years ago, because man, life would have been easier. I would have had a book where I could relate to, I could read and say, oh, yeah, I get it. Oh, I understand. It's full of life lessons in there. It's full of
Mm,
beautiful lessons that we've lived for thousands of years. There's answers to most of your problems in there, and it's super simple. And
yeah.
I'm reading Tim Keller right now, which is a brilliant pastor that passed away not too long ago, unfortunately. But he was explaining that the Christian church is a hospital for sinners. It
Mm,
is not a museum of saints.
yeah.
So basically, if you go to church, you're going to be filled with people that are broken. But do you know what they all have in common? They want to get better. There's nothing like being surrounded by other people that want to be better. This is
Mm,
food for your soul, man. Being around other people that just want to be better. They have faith in the same thing as you do. It's a beautiful thing.
mm. I believe that. I believe that too. And we have a very compassionate Father, God, who is ready to like heal us, go on that journey with us, and help us become whole again, joyful again, and have that peace like a river. Yeah.
So, I did not have a father growing up, and that's what happened on Sunday. the pastor was talking about how, they always say that, you just said it again, that God's your father. But most
Mm,
people see that and they're like, yeah, he made us, we come from him, so technically he's the father, we get it. But then on Sunday, it hits me that he is the father I never had. He is the father that was never there for me. He is the masculine figure that will always be there for me. This is what I realized on Sunday, and that's why I broke down. Because I'm like, man, how did you just realize this now? How did you not realize this years ago? That
mm,
throughout your life, you had somebody that was always there. That no matter
yeah.
what you did, he was there, he loved you, and he wanted you to be better. He was providing you with everything you needed to be better. But
Mm,
it sounds great on paper. It sounds great when people tell you that, oh, that's beautiful. I hope, man, this is really something I need. But when he touches you, he literally touched me.
mm,
As in,
yeah.
son, I've always been there. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I've always been here. There's your proof. It's like like he just put his head on the back. And I know how this feel. I know how this sounds. What I'm saying to people that
Mm,
are not spiritual are gonna think I'm absolutely nuts. And you know what? It's fine. But man, this was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. Why did it
I mean, I
happen?
can't.
Because I allowed it to happen. Because when
Mm,
I started feeling like I had not feel good that whole day. I was like, yeah, man, when you get up in the morning and it's one of those days, you feel it, you're like, ah, and that's what it was. But I was like, man, what is it? Why am I feeling like this? So I knew something was going to happen. I knew something was up because I allow myself to understand these things. If I'm not feeling well, I'm not trying to hide this with television beyond my phone. No, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to be like, why do I feel this way? I love to meditate, and meditation is all about knowing you. So, why am I feeling like this? And then after the church, after I broke down there, after I connected to Father in a way that I've never done before, I'm like, that's why I felt like this. Everything makes sense if you stop believing in coincidences.
mm, that's true. Yeah, and everything also makes more sense when you believe that God loves you and you are able to accept that love into your life. The life
I
makes more
think it's more
sense to
than
you.
believe because I've believed for a long time that He loved me. Now I know.
Mm.
It's not a belief
Ah,
anymore. You believe, you have
mm,
faith, and it is a fact. This is not even
ah,
faith anymore. It's not I have faith that he loves me. No, 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 no. He does. It's a
mm,
fact. This is a glass, this is a microphone, this is a shirt. I know them to be real because there are facts. This is the
mm,
For me to say to people that God loves me is not an opinion. It is a fact that he does. I know this to be true because he told me, he touched me, and I felt him. I felt him. I needed to be touched by him in order to believe him,
mm,
in order to be convinced that it was true. And now I know it to be a fact. There's nobody that can come up to me and say that how I felt or how I feel right now is wrong. Nobody. You can say it all you want, but you're the one that's wrong.
yeah, that's a fact. I mean, God loves you. God loves us. That's
Mm,
the fact. That's the truth. That's everything. That's period. Yeah,
yeah, man. I agree.
yes. Nico, I've had so much fun speaking with you. I really appreciate this wonderful conversation. I'm happy that we're able to talk about, masculinity, which is your purpose, and how you're helping men to, tap into these five virtues of being a good man. And also how faith, wraps it all up for us. If there's anyone out there who would like to contact you, work with you, listen to your show, they have the Nico Lagan show also. What's the best way to reach out to you and work out? I say work out, connect with you.
I'm on every single platform that you can think of. Real Nico Lagan, but you can go to nicolagan.com. All my socials are there. All the podcasts that I've done are there. It links to my show. It links to everything. And if you feel that you need somebody to help you figure out your purpose, figure out what's going on, I do work with men. I only work with guys that I know will do the work. So if you're not sure, you're wasting your time because I'm not going to waste mine. But if you know that you're at a point in your life that you need guidance, you need somebody to keep you accountable, as you were asking earlier, I will take people that need the help. That means that they're ready to do the work. So everything's on nicolagan.com.
That's on nicolagan.com. I'll place the link to your website in the show notes of this episode. So I encourage everyone to click on the link, copy the link, reach out to Nico, and become a better man, basically. Thank you so much, Nico. I really appreciate this. It was a wonderful experience speaking with you and learning from you.
Thanks for having me on, man. Thanks for letting me babble blah 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 for like an hour now.
Yeah, I said 30 minutes and it became an hour, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Thanks for letting me go, man.
Wow, you made it to the very end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your time, your love, and your contributions. Subscribe, like, review, and share this podcast. God bless you. Bye. Bye.